Let us move on. Ma'am, a minute, ma'am. Yes.
The prayer is going on.
Yes, Hari.
I am pleased to invite our most respected principal, Dr. M.G. Raghunathan, to welcome the gathering and share a few thoughts about our college. So please.
Most respected chief guests of the day, Mr. CMA Biswarup Basu, President, Institute of Cost Accountants of India, Kolkata, Lion CMA, Mr. P. Raju Iyer, Vice President, Institute of Cost Accountants of India, beloved Vice Principal Shift 2, Dr. Rajeshri, Head of the Department of Commerce, Shift 2, Dr. Soumya, my dear colleagues and my dear student friends. Today, I feel very much privileged to welcome you all to this wonderful national webinar on the changing world of internal audit. I am very happy that of recent times there were no seminars. Everybody got used to usual routine, but in spite of that, now again, I feel I am that nostalgic moments of March, April and May. Now this is Dr. Soumya has arranged a nice webinar, and interestingly now this is being live streamed in YouTube also. I am very happy to have two eminent personalities like CMA Biswarup Basu and Mr. Raju Iyer. I am very happy in welcoming you, sir, for this wonderful evening, for this webinar. Welcome, hearty welcome to Guru Nanak College also virtually. And to talk about Guru Nanak College, we have started this institution 71 years, in 1971, 50 years ago. In spite of that, there are 34 departments, of which the Shift 2 Commerce Department has been started in the year 1981-82 to cater the needs of the students of demand more in commerce courses. Students have been, the curriculum have been designed to train the students to become globally to develop their personality and to deal with the challenging and competitive environment. And with these few words, I wholeheartedly welcome all the guests and the VIPs and other guests and all the heads of the department and my colleagues to this wonderful webinar. Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity given. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for the warm welcome. May I now request Dr. N.C. Rajashree, Vice Principal, Shift 2, introduce our guest, Mr. CMA Biswarup Basu, President, the Institute of Cost Accountants of India. Please, ma'am.
Namaste, sir. Thank you, Hari. It is really a great pleasure to our principal has invited you all, and I'm very happy. The president of CMA, Mr. Biswarup Basu, is here, along with Vice President, Mr. Raju Iyer. So it gives immense pleasure. It is an honor to introduce such an eminent person for this wonderful webinar, which is the need of the hour. So Mr. CMA Biswarup Basu is a fellow member of the Institute of Cost Accountants of India and an alumnus of South Point High School, Kolkata. He started his professional career in the year 1985 as a management trainee in a multinational company of repute, and thereafter joined Bharat Coking Coal Limited in 1988 as finance officer. I know how busy he will be, but in spite of it, his interest towards the younger generation and towards education has brought him all the way here. We, the people of Guru Nanak College, along with all the students and the professional out there, are eagerly waiting to hear you, sir. Thank you for accepting our invitation and being here. So, sir joined a wholly owned company of Government of West Bengal in a senior position where he served for 29 years. He has a total stint of 34 years of industrial exposure. What a way to have a guest. Thank you, sir. Thank you for being here. He was elected to the Central Council of Institute for the terms 2015-19 and 2019-23 as a Central Council member. He was elected as the Vice President of the Institute for the year 2019 and 2020. He was the Chairman of the Training and Educational Facilities and Placement Committee 2019-2020 and 20. He was also a member of various important committees of the Institute. For the year 2019-2000, we have Executive Committee, Examination Committee, Finance Committee, Disciplinary Committee, Coordination Committee. Everywhere he has served and in a right position of ICAI, ICSI, and Director of ICMAI, RVO, IPA, ICAI, ICWA, MARF, and AAT Board. He served the profession as the Chairman of Members Services and Facilities Committee 2015-16 and 16-17, Journal and Publication Committee 2017-18, and Members in Industry Committee 2018-19. During his tenure, he has taken several initiatives that would increase the scope and development of the profession. Additionally, he was a member of Finance Committee in the year 2015-16 and a member of Examination Committee for the year 3 consecutive years, 16-17, 17-18, and 18-19. He had the privilege of serving the profession as a member of the Eastern India Regional Council, EIRC, for 3 terms, 95 to 98, 98 to 2001, and 2004 to 2007, in various capacities as treasurer in 95-96, 96-97, secretary 96, 97, 97, 98, and Vice Chairman during the period 2000 and 2001. What a wonderful person we have got for this today's webinar, which is going live. And thank you so much, sir. I am privileged to introduce you. I think it goes on and on. We could mention only a few. Thank you, sir. Thanks for coming.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Leadership and learning are indispensable to each other. I now take immense pleasure to invite our distinguished resource person, CMA Biswarup Basu, the President of the Institute of Cost Accountants of India, to share his thoughts. So please.
A very good afternoon to all of you. Respect Dr. N.C. Rajostri, respected dignitaries of Guru Nanak College, my beloved council colleague P. Raju Iyer, Vice President, the Institute of Cost Accountants of India, my beloved students. Learning gives creativity, creativity leads to thinking, thinking provides knowledge, knowledge makes you great. When learning is purposeful, creativity blossoms. When creativity blossoms, thinking emanates. When thinking emanates, knowledge is fully lit. When knowledge is lit, economy flourishes. So the word knowledge is very important to us. Knowledge embraces three things: creativity, righteousness, and courage. The word courage is very important in our life. We should be courageous. My beloved students, purity, patience, and perseverance are the three elements to success. According to Swami Vivekananda, take up an idea, make that idea your life. Think of it, dream of it. Let the brain, muscles, nerves, and every part of your body full of that idea, and just leave every other idea. This is the way to success. My beloved students, you should look at the highest, aim at the highest, and definitely you shall reach the highest. Excellence is not a destination, it is a continuous journey that never ends. For success, you should have an aim in life, you should continuously acquire knowledge, you should work hard and have perseverance to realize the great life. And I have already told what is the knowledge equation as enunciated by Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, our former President of India. It embraces three things: courage, creativity, righteousness. So this is the knowledge equation. Knowledge is power. Knowledge, a person who is knowledgeable is always respected. And I will say one thing is very important. What is dream? Dream requires effortless sleep, and aim requires sleepless effort. So sleep for dreams and wake up for aims. Success, in fact, is no accident. It is hard work, perseverance, learning, studying, sacrifice, and most of all, love what we are doing or learning to do. We are really privileged. Institute is privileged to have to do the joint seminar. We shall also be entering into a MOU. The Institute of Cost Accountants of India is a pioneer accounting institute. It is established by an Act of Parliament in 1959. We have a vast infrastructure. We have 5 lakh students. We have 4 regional council, 110 chapters, and 10 overseas centers. We have our foundation course, intermediate course, and final course. And in today, a professional accountant like cost accountant is honored and respected. And we are passing through a volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous environment. So we need to be updated with latest techniques like artificial intelligence, blockchain, cyber security, data analytics, etc. These are the modern things which a student should know. Just as an engineer should know what is data analytics, so a accountant should also know what these modern techniques are. And my beloved students, we are now holding examination through online mode, because examination through physical mode at this moment is virtually impossible. So we are amongst the 3 institutes, we are the first institute to take a decision that we will hold our intermediate and final examination in online mode, so that the students' career is not spoiled. And I can assure you there is a tremendous scope for cost and management accountant. Many of our members are occupying the highest position in the industry. There is huge scope in practice. GST has opened up tremendous opportunities for cost and management accountants. And a cost accountant can also be an insolvency professional. So there are huge opportunities for a cost accountant. So I would request the students, along with your graduate while you undergo your undergraduate course, you should side by side enter into a professional course like the course the course we are providing, the course in intermediate and final. And I can definitely assure there is huge scope. I would not take much of your time. I wish the seminar a grand success. I once again thanks the authorities, in particular NC Rajeshri and other dignitaries of Guru Nanak College, and particular to my good friend P. Raju Iyer, Honorable Vice President of the Institute of Cost Accountants of India, for inviting me in this seminar. I wish this virtual seminar a grand success. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. May I now request Dr. D. Soumya, Assistant Professor and the Head of the Department of Commerce, to introduce our eminent resource person, P. Raju Iyer, Vice President of the Cost Accountants of India, to address the gathering.
A very good evening to one and all present here. I deem it a privilege to introduce the guest and the resource person of the day, CMA P. Raju Iyer, Vice President, Institute of Cost Accountants of India. He is a fellow member of the Institute of Cost Accountants of India and is in practice since 2000. He is also Associate Member of Institute of Company Secretaries of India and Chartered Institute of Management Accountants, CMA UK. He has a rich experience over the period of 4 decades with increasing and progressive responsibilities covering wide arenas of organizational development, wealth creation, and value addition process to the profession. He has been the member council of the Institute and elected consequently for the second term to the council of the Institute term 2019-23. He has been the chairman and the member of various committees and board of the Institute of Cost Accountants of India, such as Professional Development and CPD Committee, Cost Auditing and Assurance Standard Boards, Cost Accounting Standard Boards, and other important committees of the Institute. The Internal Auditing and Assurance Standard Board, established by the Institute for the first time in 2019, was nurtured under his chairmanship. Being a professional of strong desire towards inclusive growth of the profession, he was elected as the chairman of SIRC of Institute of Cost Accountants of India for the year 2013-14. He was the founder and convener 2012-13 Chennai West Study Circle SIRC of ICSI. He was the treasurer, Consultancy Development Center, Chennai chapter. He has been the convener for Online Taxation Forum, Confederation of Indian Industry CII Chennai during 2010-12. He is associated with Professional Bodies and Management Association for networking members. He is the visiting faculty for professional courses at various reputed institutions, colleges and universities, ACCA and CMA UK, MMA, CII and other institutions. He has been the prolific and motivating speaker, mentored youth and professionals with wide network in India and abroad. He has addressed many national and international conferences, seminars, symposium for students and professionals. He received Par Excellence President Award from His Excellency Shri Rosaiya, then Governor of Tamil Nadu. He received prestigious Melvin Jones Fellow, PMJF Lion. As a president of the club during 2012-13, he planted thousands of trees and career guidance to reach unreached, mentoring youth and grooming professionals. He is the treasurer, Samskar Bharati Tamil Nadu, the organization dedicated to promote culture and arts, Tamil Nadu. We are really honored to have you here, sir. Thank you so much for accepting our invitation, sir.
argument. Anyone who stops learning becomes old, whether at 20 or 80. Anyone who keeps learning stays young. Now I take immense pleasure to invite our guest and resource person, Mr. CMA Raju Iyer, Vice President of the Institute of Cost Accountants of India, to highlight on the topic, the changing world of internal audit, artificial intelligence, robotics and machine learning, global avenues and prospects for the students. So please.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, one and all. Wish you all a good, happy, healthy, and prosperous days ahead. Respected Honorable Principal Dr. M.G. Raghunathan and Vice Principal Dr. M.C. Rajashree, our Honorable President of the Institute, CMA Biswarup Basu, and Madam Soumya Madam, Head of the Department, other Head of the Departments, Hari Krishnan, and Madam Jayashree, and others who are all molding the dynamic youth of the college and the students. And respected students, you are the one who is the force behind all these things, who is going to lead India to current century and leading is. And the present environment provides us a threat at the time of as well as an opportunity. So we have to convert this threat into the opportunity. And why this topic is chosen? So the topic is very, very important because today the internal auditing is gaining a lot of strength and a lot of independence. And I am very much thankful to our immediate past president, CMA Balwinder Singh ji, and our previous present president Biswarup Basu ji for giving me an opportunity to head the chairman of this first time created internal auditing and assurance standard board. And we have brought lot of guidance, technical papers and all on industry wise and general guidance for the members and who are for the industries also. Professionalism does not occur overnight. Rather, it's a process that evolves out of focus, commitment and dedication, ongoing study and professional growth, high road ethics and unwavering determination and plan and old-fashioned hard work. So unless you are having a dedication, you will not be able to be a professional. Professional means who are all dedicated and who will be able to contribute for society, who will be able to lead others to take the decisions and able to contribute. So that is what the leadership requires. To be effective, the professional should embrace ethics, quality, to be committed standards and in compliance with the certification requirements. With all these qualities in mind, we need to emerge as exemplary professionals in the domain of various areas, including internal auditing and assurance services, moving beyond the compliance requirement of Companies Act and whatever the Act required. To have effective internal auditing services, independence and objectivity of auditing services to be maintained by the corporates and by the professionals. Independence is established by the organization and the reporting structure. We know now today what is the independence required. We are seeing in the newspaper that various things, whether whoever is a professional, whether it's a chartered accountants or whether it is communities and our lawyers, who are all doing some unethical practices and various companies are getting bad name because of that. So we should have the ethics and effective internal auditing will be able to have it. So independence should be always there, not to depend on anyone, and a reporting structure. Objectivity is achieved by an appropriate mindset. The internal auditing activity evaluates risk exposure relating to the organization's governance, operations, information system, and in relation to effectiveness and efficiency of operation. You know what is the difference between effectiveness and efficiency? Efficiency is doing the things right, effectiveness is doing the right thing. So we should be having both effective as well as efficient. So reliability and integrity of operational information and safeguarding the assets, compliance with the law, regulations, and other contracts. So all these things in mind, today the opportunities are very big. If you want to stay where you are, you have to keep on running. Today, unless you are updating yourself, you will not be able to move forward. For example, if someone says that they will not be having a mobile phone or latest technologies, how will you be able to travel? Today, for the train or flight, you need only the app and only you have to have the online booking and things like that. So without having learning things, you will not be able to survive also. So we'll go through the presentation and wherever the doubts we can have it. And in the end, we will have a question and answer session also, so that we'll be having the clarity and how the professions has to move forward on internal auditing and assurance arena. Hope the PPT is clear.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you. So reaching the next generation of internal auditors. Why we have to reach the next generation? So the world is changing, the activities are changing, not only because of the COVID situation, but also because of other things, whatever is happening. Robotics has coming to extent, artificial intelligence, blockchain model, and so many new avenues are opening up. So we have to have all these things, then only we will be able to move forward, not only on internal auditing, but in all the other areas, including the doctors, lawyers. Today, the court is hearing on virtual platform. So the lawyers should be knowing how to go into the virtual platform, use of technology. Same thing, so many doctors are giving advice on online. So they should also have used the technology. So the technology is going to lead us. So we should be able to have the technology. So what is the way forward? It is the internal audit activity evaluates risk exposure, the organization governance, operations, and internal systems in relation to effectiveness and efficiency operation, reliability and integrity of financial and operational information, safeguarding the assets, and complying with the law, regulations, and the contracts. So what is our risk exposure of the organization for COVID-19 like situation, or the company will be having lot of insurance risk, and accidents may happen, and floods may come. So many risks are there. How they are going to take the risk mitigating measures? Then only the company will be able to have a long-term sustainability. One is insurance, we can say, but even insurance will have only cover this, but operation and sustainable growth will be there. For having the sustainable growth, the professionals should evaluate what are all the risks which the company is facing, each organization is facing. They should take effective steps to reduce the risk. And organization governance. Governance is today gaining a lot of significance as one, corporate governance, then governance of the people, and human resource is very, very important. So governance is very much required. And effectiveness and efficiency of operations, how effective an organization can be, how efficient they will be provide services to all the stakeholders. So the report should be reliable. Then only stakeholders will be able to take the decision, whether it's a audit committee or the manager or supervisor level or the board level. Unless they are able to rely on the report, they will not be able to take the decisions. And the integrity of the statement should be there. So statement should be accurate and it should be on timely basis also. Of course, safeguarding the assets, whether it's a physical assets or other assets also. Because, for example, in case of Coca-Cola, some years before what has happened, someone said the Coca-Cola is mixing, having the water which is having contaminated. So the market value has dropped. And what happened to Maggi noodles? So the safeguarding the assets, intangible assets is very much important, especially the goodwill and the brand value. Once if you are not able to safeguard the brand image and all, the company will be collapsing. So compliance with the law, regulations, and the contracts. So many laws are changing, so many regulations are there, and so many contracts are there. All those things has to be looked into by the internal audit team so that they'll be able to provide one, how the audit, all these things have been covered, this one effectively managed, and how all these things have been covered, and whether any loose things are there, and how to take up the loose ends. Always the internal auditor should be doing as a young, whether it's a internal auditing or as I said, whether it's going for the any professionals, you should be a QC. QC is questioning cost, not the quality control. What is a questioning cost? We have heard about zero-based budgeting, zero-based this and all that. So you should always redefine whether this cost is required, whether this activity increases the value. You can increase the cost, maybe the cost may be genuine, but whether it is adding the value to the product and value to the services, that type of questioning mind should be there. Then only you will be able to contribute to the management. So relevant cost, whether the cost is relevant, whether the cost is relating, whether it is adding the burden or whether it is loading to the products or more to share of the cost than required. Necessary correcting anomalies, removing the non-relevant cost, non-relevancy, all those things has to be looked into by the internal audit team. Why the cost is relevancy comes in. Assume that you are importing a product and that maybe a substitute will come. So the substitute is cost effective, you should go for the substitute. So whether the cost has become relevant or irrelevant, that will become the things. And always go for the brainstorming group, BST. What is brainstorming? The giving a Japanese model, the brainstorming what they will call all the people. Only one group will be there who will be taking the note only. There will not be anyone who is heading the table or anything. So from the top to bottom, they'll be asking them to give a suggestion. All the suggestions will be noting down and they will not ask any questions. At the end, they'll be evaluating whether this suggestion can be implemented. Once some suggestions are implemented, whatever the benefit occurring, additional sales or additional revenue or cost saving, 50% will be shared by the concerned person who has given the suggestion. So the brainstorming is always very much required, especially when you are going for the auditing as a professional, whether it's internal auditing or external auditing, or you are working as a manager, you have to get the information from the staff who will be able to guide you how best way you will be able to do it, what is the efficient way to do the work, so that you will be able to get the maximum effectiveness and the operations will be highly successful. And why the internal audit function is required. So intelligent and aging tool for the audit committee and board of directors. How the board manages the company, board of directors are not involving in day-to-day operations. So they have managers, they have general managers, only the managing director involving in day-to-day operations, and there is an audit committee who will be looking after the quarterly review, quarterly report and all that. So the eyes and ears of audit committee and board of directors are various professionals, including the internal auditors. Since the internal auditors is involving in all the activities of the company, where they are going to verify, vouch and suggest and whatever things are going to happen, they will be adding the value. So that report is very much valuable to the audit committee and board of directors to take the decision. Whether anything gone wrong or whether we have achieved what we require as per the budget, whether we have achieved and or we have overachieved, and how to fix the target for the next quarter, next month and the next year. All those things will be guided by the internal auditors. And what is the core objective? Value addition. What is a value addition? For example, originally, what is the purpose of the mobile phone? What is the purpose of the phone? To receive calls and to speak. But today, mobile phone or whatever, then it is adding so many functions, including camera, internet and everything. If you are having the mobile, the whole world is at your hand and you are able to communicate, see things and all the things, as I said, including the messages and including this, and your train ticket or airfare ticket or whatever it is in a mobile phone. So the value addition of the product, value addition of the services is more important. It will be adding value to the business process. Set the tone by capturing the key expectations of stakeholders. What is the key expectation of the stakeholder? There should be a business growth. There should not be any package. There should not be any let it in operations. The profitability should be there. The margin should be there. Customers should be satisfied. And all the one who are all involving in the company, the clients and the customers, they should be satisfied. That is the expectation of the stakeholders, so that they'll be able to optimize the profit. The question is not only profit, it is always providing the services so that the goodwill and the brand image will be created. It will be able to have great sustainable growth. So definitely shift in perception of internal audit being a cost center to profit center. What is the difference between cost center and profit center? Commerce students will be knowing. So cost center is a place where they are incurring the cost. The profit center being where the sales and the revenue is also taking place. So assume your unit is producing only the only the refill. The other unit is producing the top, the other unit is producing the other area. So one unit will be assembling. Here, where is the cost center? All these things are cost center, but finally they are assembling and selling it. That becomes a profit center. But when one unit is transferred to others, how efficiently they are functioning, that becomes a profit center. Whether it is adding value, that becomes a profit center. So the internal auditor's role today is assuring and providing assurance, to re-energize assurance to all the stakeholders that everything is going in order. There is no setback, or everything is moving in the right direction as planned, and it is able to achieve the expected growth rate. Or if anything is deviation is there, and identify the deviation, how the deviation can be rectified. Assume that suddenly in April, the sales should have reduced because of the COVID-19 situation. So how to rectify it? Most of the companies, if you take textile units in Tirupur, what they have done, they have gone for producing the mask. And so many hospitals converted it to COVID-19 specialty. Hotels converted to COVID-19 for this one. So many, these are all there. This is the thing where you should be able to get the idea because of the situation, what will happen, what is the alternative, where the sustainable growth will be there, where we'll be able to provide the services to the clients. And the internal audit and the stakeholders. Who are all the stakeholders? There are multiple stakeholders who heavily rely on the work of the internal audit function. As I said, one is the audit committee and the board of directors and all. At the same time, the department head, the supervisors and the managers also stakeholders. And there is a governance and the government authorities also, and how they are complying with this, and the risk management, operation excellence, and the continued review of the business processes. So the stakeholders are how the process are being done, how the statutory auditors are looking into it. The regulators also rely upon the internal audit report, whether all the things have been observed, whether the dues have been forwarded. For example, whatever the periodical GST due payment, periodical report submitting for provident fund authorities. All those things are be looked into by the regulators through the internal audit. And the board of directors always they are looking for. There is of course audit committee at the senior management level. Everyone is looking at the internal audit report and what suggestions they are going to make. And originally, if you take, the internal auditor was considered as one of the things who will be finding the fault. Today, it is not fact finding; it is advising and supporting the particular team for going into the effective way. That is what the role of internal auditor today. What is the changing dimensions? What is the need? So, resulted in heightened expectations of the stakeholders at different levels within an organization. What are the situations taking place? Political and economic uncertainties. We know there are lot of things. Suddenly, a new rule may come. A new regulation will come. How we have to cope with it? It may be favorable. It may be sometimes we have to follow certain procedures for following with the rules. So, what are the economic uncertainties like a COVID-19 situation? Now, for example, in this in the month of September and October, if you take it, automobile has gone very big. Automobile industry has picked up. Though other industries, this automobile has picked up and agriculture has picked up. So this is contributing for the economic growth. So we cannot say that in the threat there is opportunity for automobile. This and again, even in May, June also automobile industry was reviving. The reason is that public transport like trains and buses in various places have been cannot be used, not operating by the rules to prevent the COVID-19 situation. So people started buying 2-wheelers and 4-wheelers at a cheaper, at affordable cost, where they will be able to move to their offices and able to do the routine work. What is the market volatility? Always it's volatile. Now, how to take control of the volatility? If you take today the stock market, you would have seen in the newspaper, and even if you go into the Google, you will say that market is very widely circulating. Stock market is widely circulating because of the US election. So people are watching how the movement of the US election is there, how it is going to be the impacting on the policy, whether it be a stable and whether there is going to be again uncertainty in US election. Those things are there. So these are all creating the market volatility. So how to foresee the market volatility, how to take control of it so that our organization will be able to sustain the growth. Dynamic business environment. Always the business is dynamic. It is not static. Today one product will be having, that product become obsolete. If you take our latest example in the last decade, what happened to the Nokia? They were doing very well. They have done excellently well, but they have to close down because the competitors are way ahead. So Nokia was unable to operate. So they have closed it down. The chairman's statement, if you see it in the Google, he was making it that we are doing well, but our competitors were way ahead. So we are closing the operations. So always you have to look for the dynamic environment where we will be able to have the sustainable growth and we are able to play better than our competitor. Unless the competition is there is no growth. But how you are effectively managing the competition, that creates the difference. Even if you are in your last maybe 10 years or 20 years, how many products were there? How many products have been totally changed? Previously, we are using disk for the saving. Today, it is a pen drive. So, in a pen drive, you can have even 62 GB or 124 GB also. Previously, if you take the system, it is so big and the capacity was less. And previously, we were using alarm clock for getting up in the morning. It will be making a lot of sound. But today, in mobile, we are able to get almost all the functions, including waking up time and all the things. So, the digital technology we are using, so the business should be using all these things so that there will be a growth. And the technological and the digital disruption. The new technology always disrupts the old technology. If always we used to say in the previous period, the previous things that what Sony did to Philips, Apple did to Sony. Philips was in the radio, this one. But Sony digitized it. Sony has become the more market leader, and all the radios and those things have been totally wiped out. Same thing when Apple did this one. So Sony's products has to be closed. So always the new technology is there. Xerox. Today, the old Xerox we are not using. We are going to the latest one in the system itself. We are able to scan and send it. In the mobile, you can take the scan and forward to anyone. So the Xerox technology has totally gone. So the new products or new technologies are coming up. Always there is a disruptive technology. You have to foresee it and how we will be able to take advantage of it for our growth and opportunity. Cyber threat. We also know how the hacking is taking place. funds are being hacked and all those things. So cyber threat also, now organization has to protect itself for its products, for its services, and there should be any leakage of their technological information. So cyber threat is very, very important. Especially in COVID-19 situation, we always advise the company that staff are working from home because they are unable to come to the office. So it is going to be again new trend that at least 30 to 40% of the staff will be working from home. So when they are working from home, the cyber threat is there, how the data leakage should not occur. So they should be able to protect themselves against the cyber threat. So these things are creating at the same time threat as well as the opportunity for the technical people, for the IT team, how effectively they'll be able to manage this security. Increase regulatory compliances, new regulations by SEBI, by Companies Act, by the government, new things are coming up, how we are able to protect ourselves. For example, in the COVID-19 situation, the factory has to set a place, the workplaces has to set a place where they will be able to wash their hands, where they will be able to have a protective mask and all those things. So these are things we complied with. These are things has to be ensured by the internal auditor, whether the company has complied with or any violation is there. If the violation is there, how deep it is, what will be the impact of these violations. Investor always demands for greater transparency. The greater transparency today is required. Today, most of things are open. Anyone will be able to get any information from the Google or network, and whatever it is, the company's information, company balance sheet can be obtained from register of companies and website also. So the transparency is there. So how to provide the information, the right information to right person is very, very critical and important. And what are the expectations? Exhibit deep understanding of the organization, industry and business processes and functions and operation changes and direction. So develop always robust internal plans that effectively evaluates the organization's strategic, operational and financial and compliance. So what are the changing things? You have to always revise your plan. You may be going according to your plan prepared a month before. So some changes will be there. So immediately you have to make the changes. For example, the COVID-19 situation, how the internal auditors are verifying the stock. We will not be able to visit their place, or auditors how they are verifying the stock, or the management also how they are verifying the stock. They will be asking the concerned staff go with the video camera to the respective places, ask them to count it. Because we are able to get all the information in system. Once they go with the video camera in the place, we are able to see whether stock is sufficient, what is the condition of the stock. So always you have to revise your plan, revise your processes so that you will be able to have effective control. Ensure internal audit plan is aligned to organizational risk assessment and addresses not only existing risks but even emerging risks due to new markets, new products, mergers and acquisition, cloud computing, social media, robotic processes, automation, cyber security, etc. All these things are having an impact on your plan, your structure, how your process is going to be. So you have to revise your plan, revise your structure so that you will be able to effectively perform your function. I'm talking about internal audit, not only internal audit, but also external audit, whether it's a lawyer or a doctor or whoever is a professional, all should have taken into account all these changes, then only they will be able to survive. Today, a lawyer will be able to assume that a case has come. So he need not go into the, like in those days, go into the book, various old cases, books and all that. So by going into the Google, he'll be able to get all the information. Whatever the information he has stored, he'll be able to see it in the fingerprint by clicking the right button. So all the informations are available. How effectively you are going to use the information, that makes a difference. Always conduct independent and objective assessment of risk and controls to provide overall comfort on the state of internal audit controls the design operating effectiveness. Overall, how effectively you are going to control, whether it's a financial or operations or other areas. It is including the designing, because though the internal auditor is a finance professional, he should have a knowledge of all the techniques and technology, including engineering aspects. When the new product is developed, how much it will be costing and what will be the initial expenses it will be having, how long it will be taking for the research and how long it will be for taking for the development. So how long we will be able to take time to recover the cost. All those things are important. The internal auditor should be in consulting with the management, look into all these aspects. Apply technology, tools and data analytics throughout the audit cycle to sharpen audit effectiveness and efficiency and elevate audit execution and reporting to thereon. What is the purpose of the audit? To bring the report. The report should be always to have suggestion and what are the plus points, what are the negative aspects, and how the negative aspects can be rectified. This is the expectation from the audit committee. It is not a fault finding like in those days. Today, it is requiring the internal audit is going to be a co-supporter or co-worker who is going to guide and make the operations in a better way. Use multidisciplinary team of professionals equipped with the requisite skills, industry acumen, and experience to deliver customized solution to maximize returns and minimize risk. What is a team of professionals required? If you are going into a production area for internal audit, and you should be having a technical person who should know what type of process are going to be there, where the wastages can be reduced, where the scrap can be reduced, those aspects only. But when you are going for the stores, the person should have knowledge of stores and what is the ERP system they are using, how the stores data is entered, whether any mismatch is there, whether it is entered to the correct cost center, correct location and correct department. So that type of knowledge should be there. So the team should be always consist of various professionals, including the IT person and including the technical person, and they should have technological knowledge also. Then only they will be able to give the report of which will be maximize the return and the risks will be reduced. So how the internal audit function moving over the era? To give an example, for example, in the year 50s, 60s and all that, if you take what is accounting, accounting is entering the journal, ledger, and a big book will be there, the general ledger, where it will be posted, and a trial balance will be extracted. So especially if you take the quarterly and the annual account closing, for the accountant it's a nightmare, where they have to spend the whole 3 or 4 days continuously for tallying the trial balance. That was a period up to 1970s and 80s. After that, once the computers are introduced, where the tally and where the small minor packages has come, posting and the ledger and getting the trial balance have become automatic. Today, the situation is that you are going to have the data in your hand, how you are going to effectively analyze it. Same way, internal audit function also. If you take the early years, they were verifying whether numbers are entered in the ledger is correct, whether the posting to the concerned ledger account is correct, whether the journal entries are correct. That was what the internal audit function was doing in the earlier period. Then subsequently what has happened, they were evaluating, the focus has changed to processes, how effectively the processes are taking place. Once the processes are in place, things should be moving in the required direction. So that is what they were doing it. Then again, situation changed in late that it's a problem identifier. Which area the systems are not effective, where the method has to be changed, where the controls has to be established. That way, it has been changed the internal audit function as well as the management function also. And they are solution provider. Now the again focus has shifted to where the identifying the problems has come, which area has to be strengthened. So provide the solution, how effectively it can be used. And again, now the internal audit function become consultant and assurance provider. It is not that fact finding, as I said. It is only focusing on value addition and the corporate governance, whether all the governances are, whether all the rules and regulations are able to get embedded into whatever the system you are using, whether the shops are functioning the respective roles in an effective way. That is being verified by the internal auditor. And they are not going to the basic verification of basic numbers and all that. Once the respective roles are assigned, whether it is going on properly is a function of internal auditors, so that they are able to assure that things are going in the right direction. Where the deviations are there, how effectively we will be able to control it. So that is how it is. Today it is shifting to effective governance and this, and where the lot of technologies has to be used. Artificial intelligence, backclass accounting, all those things are to be used so that the function will be effectively done, and there will be a lot of assurance and will be able to provide the required expected value addition to the management and all the stakeholders. How the value addition beyond the assurance? So it is a assurance should be there. There should be sustainability reporting and internal audit and the catalyst for change. Internal audit is for catalyst for change. Why? They have to identify what are the areas, what are the problems. They are assuring that things are going in the right direction, and assessment and recommendation of wherever the weaknesses are there, it will be strengthened. Wherever the operations are there, again further improvement. Always when you want to stay where you are, you have to keep on running. So that should always be a further improvement, so that process will become easier. The person will be able to go to the higher level, able to this. So those things are being identified and assessed by the internal auditor and oversight, and how they are going to have it. And advisory services is very, very important and critical in today's age, because then only the management will be able to take the right decision to move forward. So the internal audit is a catalyst for the change, for the better. So how they will be able to, being an advisor, unless he is having all the information, all the systems, the knowledge, what the companies are having the system, how it can be effectively controlled, and whether it is any deviations are there, whether all the regulations are being followed. For example, what are the labor law requirement, what are the Factories Act requirement, what are the minimum wages requirement, whether all these things have been followed. And now, if you take the immigration, the migrant workers also, whether the migrant workers have been treated properly, whether the migrant workers requirement has been complied with. All those things has been seen by the internal auditor as a system. It is not individually, as a system and as a processes, whether it is in place, so that he will be able to assure the stakeholders that everything is going correct, and he will be able to provide the value addition report. For example, SEBI also required so many things for the company of listed companies of which is certain turnover to have an internal audit, internal financial control framework also the companies will be having, enterprise risk management and fraud risk management and legal compliance framework. So SEBI also requires so many things for the listed companies. So whether these things are complied with, and the Companies Act also requires so many things. Whether those things are, these are the things which has to be ensured by the internal auditor that it is being followed by the company. Today, the internal audit has become risk-based internal audit. Our insurers also brought the guidelines of risk-based internal audit, and you can have it from our website also. We will be able to download and go through the full this one. More than 200 pages we have published a report. Risk-based internal auditing. So what is a risk involved? Things are moving in the direction. So as I said, we are having the method systems and there may be some changes. So because of the change, any risk is there. Because the company may be having the raw material which may be risky to use, which may be not a fire resistance. It may be very easy to inflammable. So those risks, whether it is there, whether the company is able to have the adequate protective measures to protect against any accidents or anything, whatever is going to happen. And wherever the risk can be transferred, whether it is transferred to the person so that the company is able to mitigate the risk. So the risk-based approach entails a systematic process for assessing and integrating professional judgment about probable adverse conditions or events that may affect the achievement of business objectives. For example, one of the companies, this unit, there was a fire, minor fire only. The impact of this was not stock and also not much value was lost and all that, but it affected the machinery. So the company has to relocate to the other place where the 3 months have been lost for the production. They were unable to produce for 3 months. So they may be having a loss of profit policy. But the thing is, the customers are getting affected. How they will be able to manage the customer? Whether they will be able to increase the capacity to some other unit or whether they can go for the outsourcing. If they go for the outsourcing, the risk is there. Somebody should not capture the market. Somebody should not capture the technology what the company is partly using. So these are all the risks which the internal auditor and the team has to identify. So audit function needs to identify risk, examine risk, investigate the sources, and put the relative value of each risk to focus on significant risk to ensure safeguard risk coverage of meeting the stakeholders' expectation. What is the stakeholders' expectation? The risk to be mitigated, the risk to be as much as possible avoided. So these identifying the risk is very critical area where the internal auditor with the team has an effective role to play. Data analytics, what and why? As I was saying, in the COVID-19 situation, how we are verifying the data, whether the data is accurate or not. We have the past history and how things are moving. So with that, we will be able to have the data analytics. So many informations are available in the company. The information has to be converted into data. The data has to be presented in a format where people will be able to take the decision. So data analytics is gaining a lot of strength. As our president has rightly pointed out, data analytics course, various courses are there, various certificate courses are there, including our institute also providing. So data analytics is providing excellent opportunity to the professionals, not only for finance professionals, it is for engineers, the doctors, and who are all going to be in the healthcare services. Everybody, data analytics is very much important, including the hospital industry where the hotels and everything is operating. So data analytics and why? It enables optimal decision making, increase business assurance level, and elimination of gray areas. What is the gray area? Where the problems are there, how it will be this. It is able to answer the historical perspective. What happened and how often and where. Past information, the history will be giving you any accident or anything happened, how it is happening, how frequent it is, so that we are able to take effective steps to control it. For example, when we are traveling in some of the road, they will say that accident prone area goes slow. So because of the past history, it is a historical perspective. So many accidents would have taken place. So they are warning that it's a risky area, so go slow or go whatever precautions you have to take. Same way, the current perspective, why it happened and what action need to be taken. The analysis of the short circuit or power failure and what happens and how it can be mitigated. And what if scenarios to avoid all the things and where the operation can be smooth. So driven audit analytics, a multidisciplinary approach is required. So data-driven audit analytics is an analytical process by which insights are extracted from the operational, financial and other forms of the electronic data, internal and external to the organization, all the information industry-wise and economy-wise and how various people they are operating. So these things have been collected, analyzed. So data will be always giving the information to take the right decision. It's always an integrated approach to the internal audit. It is not standalone. Internal audit department is not standalone. It is moving around everywhere. All the organization, it's all pervasive and going into the from top to bottom. So technology can be used to achieve the same level of assurance more efficiently at a lower cost. So when using the technology, we get all the information. So we are able to get all the data from various places and we are able to analyze where we are feeling that there is a risk. That area alone we are checking. That area alone we are going. Otherwise, we are going by the standard. So a greater benefit derived by achieving a higher level of assurance at a similar cost. So when the systems are used, when the information technology is used, it is a cost effective. Same way when you are using the traveling, you are taking in your mobile itself, the downloading the ticket and the traveling. So the paper is not wasted and the printing cost is saved. So it's always cost effective. I'm giving a simple example. But if you take it to the company as a bigger organization, how much they will be able to save by using the technology? That's why always whenever there is a technological change, whenever the technology use, the cost is coming down. Ultimate results in better audit quality for clients and investors and reduce audit risk and reliability. Always the reliability should be there and the liability should be reduced and how it effectively they are using the technology to get the information. So if you take the diagram, it is starting from the what is a strategic vision of the internal audit strategic vision of the organization and how the organization structure, what are the resources and the talent available with the management and how it is aligned to assurance services and how the dynamic risk assessment is there and how the agile audit approach is there and the reporting. And based on the reporting, there is a continuous monitoring. Because once the reporting is there, wherever the deviations that has monitored, where the better performances are going to the higher level. And by that, we are going to have a advanced analytics. And by advanced analytics, you are going to have a robotic process and automation of that and process mining. And you are able to achieve the machine learning and all those things are being used so that the reporting and the whole the process are improving to next generation internal audit. So by using the technology, we are able to get the report on time. We are able to analyze the data in a shorter time, and so that you are able to reduce the risk and are able to add more value. So how effectively you are going to use the technology is very important. So what are the technology developments taking place? Which right technology to be used? Just because technology is available, if you have it, the purpose is lost. It will be only spending the cost. So right technology at the right time by the right person, it should be analyzed and it should be used. And what are the audit analytics are that? So technology can be used to achieve the same level of assurance from efficiently at a lower cost. As I said, the technology always reduces the cost, but at the same time, it's a double-edged sword. If you implement the technology at a higher cost, the infrastructure and everything is there, and that cost will be so much, and you are not getting the real benefit. So you find out the right technology and how effectively you can use to reduce the cost. The greater benefit derived is by achieving the higher level of assurance at a similar cost. Ultimately results in better audit quality for clients and investors and reduces the audit risk and liability. Always the risk reduction should be there. Always risk involves cost, and the risk assessment is the effective risk assessment should be effectively done so that you are able to mitigate the risk and expenses on risk management is lesser. And how you are going to plan all those things and how you are going to report all those things in a paper, the right information to the right persons. and what is the feedback from various places. So it's a vicious circle. So you are having assessing risk assessment and how to reduce the risk you are planning, and you are reporting it based on the feedback. Again, you are assessing the risk. It's a circle, and where it's a continuous process where the internal auditor should be effective in taking the lead. And some of the advantages of deploying data analytics are as under. So timely detection of red flagging. So where the deviations are there, information should be able to get it immediately. And at the same time, it is able to maintain the audit trail. So when in the physical form, we will having so many books, so many things. So it will be taking a long time to again going back to the things. But in the system, when you are using the technology, you are able to get the information very easily. So increase assurance to the management because of the use of technology and your reporting. So automation of the audit processes, thereby saving the time. So data analytics helps in printing the transactions, introducing the control structure of you are being watched. Because always when the data is there, what is the last week production, what is this week's production, and what is the plan for the next week production. So always the person who is performing, he knows that somebody is observing, somebody is watching, so that his performance will be better. So there will not be any lag. So data analytics help for plugging all these loopholes and able to get the better results by observing. Capable to analyze huge amount of data volumes and addressing the leaking of controls so as to mitigate the risk. So as you are saying, so many data can be compressed into the information and which is required by the management. So all those things are able to achieve by recognizing and all those things. It is the use of technology, use of the data, and a lot of informations are available. You have to convert it into data which you have to manage it, and always data that's a privacy should be there. The data leakage should not be there. It has to be talent and planned in a very successful way, so that the skill set is required to use the technology in an effective way. What is happening today and how the effect is going to be there in the next years, what is going to come. So audit planning and risk analysis. So analysis under on limited basis of determination of what controls and what controls we select and those things, and how it is going to be there in the next years to come. Use of analytical visualization on annual planning and scoping the reviews to detailed analysis, testing for an individual audit. So the use of technology, we are going to move to the further direction. And analytics is generally not used through the risk assessment process to help determine the audit plan. But by use of technology, what will happen? Use comprehensive risk assessment mechanism and a risk-based approach and a complementary risk discussion with leadership. So that by use of all those things, that is going to happen. What is the scope? Scope is determined prior to analytical results. Teams request and will lead to entire inventory of analytics for review of without consideration of the results. But what is going to be the future? Leverage analytics to help scope of audit, and again increase horizontal reviews across all the teams. So it will be helping the team effort, and it is going to have the more impact. And visualization and reporting. Dashboards are used on a limited basis, but dashboards review dashboards periodically and make this. And when the dashboards are used, it will always highlight wherever the deviations are there. Same like when you are using your mobile, when the battery is going down, it is saying that battery is going down. It is only 20% or 15% plug through power source. Same way, this dashboard should be revealing to the management wherever the deviations are there, where the risk is there, so that you're able to take immediate action. Data. It is focused on global sources. Expand the data meant to large regional data. Example, India payroll. And by using the advanced technology, you will be able to get even to the department what is the cost and what all things you are able to analyze it at a short time. The data will be able to comprehensive and use it effectively. So use in execution of an audit. Custom analytics are requested and in the late processes what we are using today. So encourage disruption using innovative analytics and this through the content function. So by using the technology, we are able to have so many things, and we are able to train the auditors, train the team, and it is having an effective control. So analytical capacity will be increased more, and we are able to get the information and data on time and how it is going to be. So we will be able to plan accurately. So that is what is required here by using the technology. These are all the various courses available on internal auditing, including the various our institutes are providing, including the cost and management of our institute, Institute of Cost Accountants of India, Institute of Company Secretaries, Institute of Chartered Accountants, all providing. These are all the various courses which is available to students, so that they'll be able to get the various certificates. Depends on the time and depends upon the cost, and so that you'll be having your employable skills will be more, and you can have a very good opportunity on internal auditing and whatever the area you require. Any questions you are having, so that I can answer, and so that if anything else is there, I can discuss with you. If you take the, yeah. Yes, madam.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir. I just have one question. My doubt is on the qualification matrix for the internal audit team and the effectiveness to look into the business aspects or the financial aspects.
If you take the internal audit matrix, as I was saying, it involves plenty of functions. So always it is not restricted to the financial data. So the analytical skill developed over the years will enable to visualize the situation. So the team always should have engineers, technical persons, technologists, and industry-specific persons also. For example, if you are going to the cement industry, what are all the cement industry processes taking place? What sources they are using? Are they having a raw material source, or are they buying the raw material, or are they outsourcing? How the marketing team? So the industry specialties also should be there, and normally the multi-qualified people will be involving in the team. Always we will be using the team that one finance professional, cost accountants, chartered accountants, and a legal expert, and technical expert, and the engineers, and the IT team also, so that the matrix will be able to provide the required services and be able to analyze it at the time, on the right time.
Thank you, sir.
Excuse me, sir. I have another question, sir.
Yeah.
Well, during doing an internal audit, we need a team. So
Yeah.
what will the team consist of, sir? What is the composition of the internal audit team, sir? Please explain it to me, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. As I was saying, the team should always consist of the various professionals. One, MBA also should be there. Because MBA, why MBA? MBA is able to analyze the information immediately, and they're able to present, and the presentation skill is more, because they have done a lot of case studies. So an MBA also will be there, the cost accountants will be there, lawyers will be there, and who is expert in secretarial practice also will be there. So the team will be consist of the various persons, including the operational expertise. It need not be have this. The person who is involving in the day-to-day operations also will be involving in the team. Then only we will be able to have this. So identify the plan and immediate consideration in the business. So extraordinary situation require extraordinary leadership, and who would be able to, the team's assistants, scrutinize the current existing audit plan and ensure you to redraft them, and based on the requirement and of this. So the team should be always consist of not only finance professionals or cost accountants and chartered accountants, but also the MBAs also should be there, because then only the team will be effective, so that it always have a expected result. How you are going to report, that is more important. So the team should be able to analyze in a critical way, including the technical lapses or where the advantages are, and able to suggest in a technical way how they will be able to perform. It's a multidisciplinary, multi-professional team. Yes, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. I now invite Mrs. Jayashree, Assistant Professor from the Department of Commerce, Shift 2, to propose the vote of thanks for the webinar. Ma'am, please.
Thank you, Hari. Good evening, one and all present here. I deem it a great honor to propose the vote of thanks for the national webinar on the changing world of internal audit. My heartfelt thanks goes to our Lord Almighty for making this event a memorable one. The essence of wisdom is gratitude, and the root of all efforts lie in the soil of appreciation. My sincere thanks to the guest and resource person of the webinar, CMA Mr. Biswarup Basu, President, and CMA Mr. P. Raju, Iyer, Vice President, the Institute of Cost Accountants of India, for having accepted our invite and have made this day a resounding success. A world without technology is like auditing without verification. We have understood from the session the first rule of any technology used in a business is that automation applied to any task will magnify the efficiency. In a world where artificial intelligence and automation are becoming a commonplace, deep expertise will keep us stay ahead of the robots. Thank you, sir, for enriching our knowledge with your intriguing presentation in spite of your busy schedule. A webinar of this stature wouldn't have been possible without the benevolent support of our management. I thank our respected General Secretary and Correspondent, Mr. Manjit Singh Nair, for his constant motivation and support. Thank you, sir. My sincere thanks goes to our respected Principal, Dr. M.G. Raghunathan, who has always been our pillar of support in all our endeavors. Thank you, sir. My sincere thanks to our Vice Principal, Dr. N.C. Rajashri ma'am, who has always been inspiring and guiding us to achieve more. I also thank our respected Vice Principal Student Affairs, Dr. L.R.S. Kalanidhi ma'am, for her encouraging words. I would like to thank all deans, HODs, and faculty members who have supported in the smooth execution of this session. My special thanks to the Media Center team for their technical support. My thanks are due to all my colleagues for their bedazzling efforts in making this event a grand success. I thank my student friends and volunteers for all their help. Last but not least, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to all the participants from various institutions across India. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much, ma'am. I request the participants to avail the participation certificate from the feedback link in the description box. Now it is time for the national anthem.
पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल वंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मागे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
Sir? Ma'am? Sir, Zoom la irundhu cut idu YouTube la irundhu live cut பண்ணிட்டாங்க sir. It's Sir?